Hi, Bo here from High Tech Investment, and we're back with another Yieldnodes video. It has been a while. We haven't done one in about 3 months' time, and last time we did one was actually this particular video here, right after the audit in Malta, where we were invited together with 9 other people. And basically a lot of things has happened since then. A lot of things on the coin developments, on the Sapphire coin, definitely. And on top of this, there has also been some changes on the withdrawal and also the deposits. A lot of things has expanded quite a bit since our last video. There's also changes and comments from the CEO. And obviously, we're going to have a closer look at the platform, otherwise what has changed over the last couple of months. And we're also going to have our little Excel out to figure out exactly how much has the profit gone up and down, what is the average, what can we expect at the end of the year. So let's have a look at everything that Yieldnodes has been up to for the last 3 months. But before we do that, we'll just give a happy birthday to Yieldnodes. They are actually 3 years old now. And that is quite astonishing because a lot of people didn't want to give them even a year or not even 2 either, of course. So there has been a lot of rumors that Yieldnodes was just another scam, but it's still here. It has been under some kind of attack, and we have mentioned that a bit in some of the news reports that we have released. And don't forget that every single week we do a news report covering Yieldnodes and many other projects that we do. But you can always find the latest and greatest what comes from Yieldnodes in those particular ones. So that you will be updated. So obviously here we're going to combine everything together so you can make sure you haven't missed a thing. Now in the last video we mentioned that Yieldnodes is slowly but surely actually realizing a lot of these different projects here. So they have come out with, obviously some of them have just been on the drawing board, but one of the ones you see here is actually electric charging stations. The only thing you don't see here is the Descenomy logos, unfortunately, at the moment. But from what we understand from the team, that will be coming in the near future. This is taken so in Germany at the moment, where their main focus is. But obviously, they will expand as time permits. Now, we mentioned earlier here that there's been some attacks, especially on the SAP and Sapphire coin. One of the things that was mentioned in the audit also that we did, and we asked the CEO if they were supporting the SAP coin, and they very clearly said yes. Steve has always been very open in that sense, and they said, yeah, we wanted to make a new bottom for SAP, and as you can see also, we had a very good development over time where Bitcoin was actually going down. But then at one point here, there was a coordinated attack, and Steve also came out with a couple of emails to the community, to the Yieldnodes members, just explaining exactly what was happening. And as you can see on the graph, we took a big hit again on the Sapphire coin, and it almost went back to before Bitcoin went crazy. So at the same level. Since then, things has developed. So, but this was the email that was sent out, and from the team again saying, you know, the past couple of weeks there's been a massive selling pressure on the coins here, and obviously at one point they had to relinquish the control of it and basically let the market decide what type of coin price there should be. But since then we have seen a recovery on the graph, as you can see here. And then in the last about a week, we have now seen a small dip again, but this is the October graph, so early October. This is where we are right now. Now there's also new development, and one of the development is obviously the hubs that we are talking about. One is being set up here in Malta, and the second one is in Germany. These are the pictures located in Würzburg. So where they are now decoupling themselves and getting away from the third-party servers, getting their own servers and basically getting full control over everything that Yieldnodes do. Definitely a good thing for all of us that are in there to make sure that they have control over all their servers and obviously at the end of the day, all the money. So one of the other things that we also mentioned in the audit program back then, and we were shown, was the new project called Slyhit, so a new type of auction for private users. And basically here also we mentioned that we're going to use a couple of coins that they already have. Don't forget that Yieldnodes / the Senemi here has about 20 plus coins at the moment. And what we mentioned here is the Slyhit was going to use the 777 and the KYAN coins in the future. Back then we had a closer look and to see exactly what it was. And if we look at the graph here, we can see the development of the jackpot 777. And over here you will then notice that they had a big dip. And after this information came out, you can actually see that it looks like a lot of people bought into the coin here. Since then it has been floating sideways, and obviously I think the coin price most probably will start to go up once the project is coming to life in full. We'll have to see exactly when that's going to be. It was being tested last time. I haven't seen any deadlines for when this is actually going to take place. The second coin was the K-Knight coin, or the KYAN. And again here we can also see quite a bit of movement. So as the coin was developing over here, it was at the bottom. Since then it has jumped a bit up and down, and at the moment it's at the same level as it was when the information came out at first. So again here we'll have to see once the project actually goes into real life, then most probably things will go more positive. On top of this, there has been some great news for all the Yieldnodes investors here too. They actually came out, and this is about a month ago, where they're going to reduce the percentage profit. So where Yieldnodes has normally always taken 15%, and we have taken 85%, they have now changed this. So it's going to be at 12.5% to Yieldnodes and 87.5% to the rest of us. And obviously we are quite happy for every single percent that Yieldnodes is ready to give us, and quite happy that they are not greedy and definitely looking at the sustainability, which we are very, very happy with. On top of this, we also have this emergency withdrawal part, and this is now basically out in a bit every single time. You can go in on the platform and you can go in and buy some of these emergency withdrawals. This provides you with a discount of 20%, so you're basically getting things a bit cheaper. So if you can afford it, and if you are planning on investing in Yieldnodes anyway, this is definitely a good way to do things. They have lifted the requirements for the €5,000 minimum deposit here. Even the 24-hour one-time purchase also has been open, so now it's a bit more open in total. But on top of that, we have seen also some people that have gone in and reserved this particular part, but then simply haven't paid in at the end of the day. And obviously that is not what this is all about. So the first time that you are basically putting your mark down on this, and if you're not paying, you will get a 48-hour ban. And then from there on, a second time, you'll be permanently banned. So be careful if you really want to invest in Yieldnodes, make sure that you have your money ready for all this. Now, one of the good things, and something that people have been talking about for a very long time, is they wanted an app for their phone. And we can tell you here that the Google Play is actually working. So the Yieldnodes app is working on Google Play. But for the iOS system, it's going to come later on this month. So obviously we all have to wait on that particular happens. And later this month basically means end of October 2022. At least that's what we've been told up until now. Just make sure that you go in and you use the links within the emails, either from Yieldnodes, or you go in through the platform instead to make sure you get the right one. There is plenty of scam apps out there. We have seen that over the last couple of years. And then there's an October promotion, which is also quite nice to know. Definitely if you want to get into Yieldnodes and you think €500 is basically too much, then what you can do is you can now get in for €100, and you can only do that for this particular month. So again, October 2022. You have the entire 20 days that we have more or less left here to go and do that. And then on top of that, there is also still a SAP bonus that was actually in place already last month, where you can get a deposit rate bonus of 7%. The other part, which is great if you are now getting yourself involved with SAP and you are actually adding SAP into the Yieldnodes platform. That is also the 7 days that is normally in when you are using Bitcoin or you're using USDT. That for SAP, you don't have the 7 days where you have to wait for the money to go in and work for you. They will do that straight away. So that's an additional good bonus for the SAP coin. Then just before we made this video here, actually, Steve again has come out and said they now have some experience load problems here with several compounding issues along the way. And basically they're going to change now the way they pay out money from previous times. Don't forget that SAP withdrawals are done on the 4th, and then Bitcoin USDT is done on the 8th. Now that's going to change a bit. So instead it's going to be from the 7th to the 11th. And that is basically because they have run into a bit of problems with Binance that they have used and some compliance issues. Basically moving too much money in a very short period of time seems to have done the trick. And that's why they have come out very, very quickly now and said, okay, we have to make some changes. Please be aware that we will pay you, but we're going to pay you over a longer period of time in order to make sure that everything is open and you're still getting obviously your money. That is not the question here. If we have a look at what kind of money we have actually made so far in 2022, you will see all the different graphs, obviously a lot of different colors. The orange, dark orange now is the first week of October, and so far we are in at 1.3%. The rest is pretty much stable, as we can see, and later in the video here I will also show you the average since we're beginning with Yieldnodes, and on top of that we'll also see how the development on the average side percentage wise has taken on since January 2022 up until October here. Now we're going to go on the platform in a couple of seconds, but I just wanted to remind you all here again that on the deposit side now there's quite a few ways you can deposit into Yieldnodes. So the first one is Bitcoin. Obviously that one has been there for quite a long time. The second one here is the Sapphire or SAP coin, and again we mentioned here, and you can see that on the important side it will tell you here when deposit with the Sapphire you'll get a 7% bonus on the Masternode account automatically, and the 7 days idle delay setup time for Bitcoin and USDT is waived. Means basically you start earning straight away. So definitely a good way to do this. On top of this we had, this is now most probably about half a year ago, USDT on the TRC20 network came in also as a deposit option, and also here the USDC on the TR20. So obviously there's plenty of ways now to deposit into Yieldnodes. If we have a quick look at the withdrawal side of it, you can see again withdrawal in Bitcoin, which was on the 8th. So normally is now between the 7th and the 11th. And the Sapphire coin, as you can see here, should still be on the 4th. And then you have the Tether USDC TRC20 that you can get out, and that will be in the same category as the Bitcoin. So basically if you want it out in USDT, then expect it to come out somewhere between the 7th and the 11th. So plenty of options as always, and it has obviously developed, which is most probably also why we have seen some issues here lately, and we know it's a big thing on payday with Yieldnodes, and definitely we know that Steve has told us many times that this is not an automated procedure in order to make sure that there's no scams and make sure that people are getting their money. in the right wallets. Everything is being double checked manually. And this brings us to the next part here, so which is very important and is now also part of the platform itself. We will have a look at it. So it says, do not withdraw to exchange directly, as your funds could be disputed, locked, or put under investigation. Use your own wallet first. So this is very important, and that's also why we have gone out and had a look around to see if we can find a new secure way of depositing our money. We did have a few, but we are going to do a video on a ledger, basically a hard wallet, cold wallet, whatever you want to call it, which is completely separate and doesn't give anything away. So you can put it directly into that in the future, and then you can exchange it, transfer whatever money you want into Binance, but you keep it in your own wallet instead of having it on the exchange. And that is definitely a video that we want to get out to you very, very soon. We can set it up as a Yieldnodes tutorial. And then again, they have the note down here that withdrawals should be requested before the 15th of the month, which has not really changed. And the process will now be done between the 7th and the 11th on that particular month. So that is always how it is. And as you can see here also, as I mentioned before, the SAP withdrawals will be processed on the 4th on the subsequent month. So obviously you still have quite a good benefits from the Sapphire coin at the moment. Now if we take a look at the platform here, so we're on the dashboard side of things, and we can see the Masternode that we have in here, also the return on the investment so far. We are definitely risk-free with the Yieldnodes. I've been that for some time now. And week one profit, 1.3%, as we mentioned earlier. Then you can see the different profits are coming in as we go. So the one we wanted to have a look at is the deposit that you have. And we mentioned here to you before, you can see they are right here. So the Bitcoin, the Sapphire coin. And again, they have the same notification down here with the 7% bonus and the 7-day idle that you don't have to have, the USDT, and then also the USDC that you have, and you get those particular addresses, so set in advance. The other ones you have to generate, so simply click on it here or that one. They will normally disappear after about 3 or 4 weeks, and then you have to go in and ask for a new address. So make sure you always double check. Another new thing there is on the platform here is the Buy Sapphire. And this is where you can convert Bitcoin into SAP. And from here on, you basically add your SAP address in here. And then you can generate a wallet. If you want to do a calculation on the other side here, so you can then enter the Bitcoin amount, and you can see approximately how much you're going to get out again. So a new feature that is also added here. On the deposit bonus, this is the bonus package, and we talked about the emergency withdrawal here before. Where people that are taking it out, the emergency withdrawal will take an account loss of 25%, because obviously it is quite disturbing to have this, but on the other hand, people should get their money. But the good part here is you can actually purchase this, and then with the 20% free bonus benefit. So the remaining 5% are flowing back into the Yieldnodes Masternode pool for benefits of everyone here. Yeah, it doesn't go into the management itself. At the moment, there is none here, but otherwise they will be located right here. You can then click on them, but make sure that you don't get banned. Make sure that you go in and pay them as quickly as possible. On the withdrawal button, as we mentioned before, you can now see here also the Bitcoin again. So this will be from the 7th to the 11th of the month. The SAP coin, as you will see here, is also this is the normal part. It says down here, SAP withdrawal, we processed on the 4th of the subsequent month. So definitely good. And then the Tether USD, and that is also included now. So it will be processed between the 7th and the 11th of those particular days. So all in all, plenty of options to both deposit and withdraw. Now we mentioned the audit that we did also back in July, and if you haven't read that one yet, you can see there's a few audits in here. So this was number 3. All you have to do is click the link, and then it will tell you the different auditors and also the people that were involved in this. So if you have an interest in figuring out what exactly happened. Now on top of this, there's also the mails archive, and this is a very good one because every single email that comes from Steve or the entire team, you will be able to find them in here. And this one is for the 5.3%, and it tells you also the Yieldnodes app, where it ranks, and all these things are automatically being updated in the system, which is obviously a great help, so you don't have to go through your own mailing list. The last part is, there's actually 2 parts. The knowledge base is definitely an important one and was built up here also over the last 5-6 months. Videos, not only from Yieldnodes and Decenemy themselves, but actually a lot of fans, a lot of YouTubers like ourselves has made some tutorials, and they've been uploaded here to the system, where you can go in and click the individual ones depending on what you need. There's obviously some of the same takes on it, and this also gets you going. For example, with some of the Decenemy coins, we have quite a few videos in here, and you will also see them in our YouTube description. The links will be there below. If we go back and have the look at, and this is actually my favorite, this is the performance part that will show the development. And if we just put in 10,000 for a second, this will now show that if you had put 10,000 in back here 3 years ago when Yieldnodes started, you can see the development. And what they are looking at here is at the bottom, you can't really see it, but underneath the pink one, we are talking about gold. So, and the other pink is the Dow Jones, and this is the development over time. For this, obviously not the best one. So the curvy one here is the Bitcoin. So if you would have put the money in Bitcoin, you would have ended up right down here at the moment. And then you have the dark red, which is basically put the 10,000 in, and then from there on you take out the profit every single month, so you don't compound it. Now the last one is the red one here that really goes into the sky, and this is the compounding factor that you can do in Yieldnodes. And over time it will tell you here that the total profit after 3 years would be 347.9%, or the 10,000 would have magically appeared passively here at 44,790 euros. So quite heavy if that's the way you would have done it. But if you would have, so that this is the red line we are talking about down here, yeah? And if you would have compounded it, you would have ended up here with 2,638% instead, or 273,860 euros in your account. So that is quite hefty, and it continues to go up nicely. So obviously this is still a good idea. Take out the money every single month once you're risk-free. Might be worth selecting over to this particular one here instead, where you can then compound it over time. And obviously you can see it's growing quite fast. So let's go and have a look at the Excel we have and see exactly how has the percentage developed over time in 2022. Now if we take a look at the Excel here, then we can see the average profit from last year, and this is without compounding, is 124.2%, and then average per year last year was 10.35. Now we have January, February, March up until September here, and you can see the last month of September was 5.3. So every single month is located here, and at the moment we have gotten to 65.2%, which is obviously about just over half of last year's, and since we're already in September, when it looks like we're not going to make it that far. Also the average is here, and the average actually comes from every single month that Yieldnodes was in, so basically 3 years back. And we can see that the slight drop, so in the average over time, going from 10.8 in January 2022 down to 10.1 at September. If we look at just January until September, then the average from 2022 actually comes to 7.24% per month. And that's what we should actually be expecting to get back from Yieldnodes at the moment, based on how the market is and how the development has been going. So obviously a big difference this year compared to some of the other years, but we also expect that some of the things might pick up again. So as some of these projects are coming live, and obviously we will see how that pans out in the future. So there you have it, plenty of good news, plenty of changes, obviously also part of Yieldnodes. Most of them are definitely positive. Yes, there's a couple of changes on the withdrawal, but then again, Yieldnodes has always been very quick and honest about their changes they're making, and that's also what it looks like to be this time around. We don't want to have any issues with our payments. So obviously, if this is what it takes, then we don't have an issue with it at all. As we mentioned here before, we're going to do a video on the ledger part, and that hopefully will help a lot of Yieldnodes members. We will get that out hopefully within the next week or so. And from there on, you can basically get it in your wallet, and then from there on always keep it and then exchange it if you need to on the individual exchanges, but only the money you want to change over. More about that in another video. So, but I hope I've given you a bit of an update and insight as to Yieldnodes. It is still working well. As we said, we have good communication. So with many of the team members within the Sendemi and Yieldnodes, we are quite happy with it from our side. Obviously, if you have any questions that you want us to look into, and please don't ask us how long Yieldnodes is going to continue, because obviously we don't know this. But if there's technical questions or anything else, we'll be happy to answer these things. Make sure you always do your due diligence. And hopefully I'll see you on the next video, where I will have a bit of insights on the Malta hub when it's hopefully finished. We do hope so. It should be at the end of this month or beginning of next month. So maybe we can do a special Christmas edition with the rest of the team. We will see, and definitely try to get something out to you. And until then, I hope to see you on my next video. Bye-bye.